Okay, well, I wanted to talk about a movie that is a very, very amazing, incredible, absolutely beautiful movie. That is, of course, the 1997 movie Boogie Nights that showcases the dark underworld of the pornography industry in, you know, disco jivey style. The movie showcases how young people who want everything grow up into the dark underbellies of an industry that exploits and takes advantage of young people into a very dirty business. And for someone who has definitely lived it, in the movie perfectly encapsulates the party scene, the scene where everybody's having a good time, indulging in all types of deviancy and all the dark sides of it as well as the positive and fun sides of it. So it's a movie that doesn't hold back in showcasing both the bad and the good sides of the uh, party scene. The movie, of course, showcases the stunning Mark Wahlberg as well as the legend Burt Reynolds, rest in peace. These two form kind of like a bro relationship and a bromance together. Mark Wahlberg's character Eddie becomes kind of like the chosen son of the pornography industry, and it also showcases his downfall, and as well as some other characters pretty incredible downfalls. It is an absolute stunning period piece. It perfectly encapsulates the late 70s, early 80s, that culture, the iconography, the way that everything was back then. And man, what a time portal back to that incredibly interesting time period in the world. Now, like I said, anybody who's lived the party scene can tell you that this movie just perfectly showcases the party scene. It's got lots of stunning shots that's kind of like a person walking through a party going on, all the chaos and socializations that are going on, the random people showing up at all hours. It just and anybody who's lived the party scene knows that this movie feels like a party. It feels like you're at a party during that time period, and wow, what an achievement this movie is. Now, like I said, it stars the incredible Mark Wahlberg. I would say it's probably his close to breakout role. He's just absolutely on fire here, and he was a relatively unknown actor back then. So, I mean, his casting in this is almost perfect, and it lines up perfectly with the character of Eddie as kind of being introduced and being, turned into a star overnight kind of thing. And Burt Reynolds, he is just a legend. What can you say about him? He's Jack Horner, and he's kind of like this. He's kind of has a good heart and soul to him, despite being involved in such bad activities and being surrounded by such bad activities. But he can tell he definitely has a good nature to him. And man, Burt Reynolds, rest in peace. What an amazing actor. Now, like I said, as a period piece, Boogie Nights is just insane. Like you get a feeling that you're, looking into a window back into that time period. So, I mean, it nails that aesthetic, but also the people back then. Very different than today. They had no social media back then, and everything was, just go out and get it type mentality. And I would say it's almost Quentin Tarantino-esque in its presentation. It is a movie that is very lighthearted at times, but then will quickly switch to a very dark and very scary almost scene where these characters just hit their downfalls. The first half of the movie is generally like very, very uplifting. It's very positive. It's very good. There's a few little scenes here and there that showcase some dark sides, but overall, the first half of the movie is just a ascension story of Eddie, becoming Dirk Diggler, the legendary porn star. So yeah, that's definitely a an interesting note. And then on the second half of the movie, it quickly spirals out of control. And I think that that was like more of a design choice of how, this is a movie that very much is rooted in cocaine and how it changes people, how it turns people into kind of a, the beginning is good, and then after the first half is over, you get into the very darkness of it, much like the drug itself. So the movie showcases the ups and downs of the party life, but also the ups and downs, I would imagine, of I mean, I've never been involved in adult entertainment, but I would imagine it has a similar effect too, is that it starts off very, very good in the first half and then can spiral into very lots of negatives, taking advantage of people, being replaced, being treated as nothing more than a piece of meat. That is like the essence of what it's kind of getting at there. And it showcases some great actors as well, from the likes of Don Cheadle, who's very excellent in this movie. He's more of a cheery character who's always having fun and doing good things, and doing that. Same with John C. Riley in this. They're both characters who are overall jovial in an overall dark world. It also includes potentially one of my favorite scenes in all of cinema, and that is, of course, the Jessie's girl scene. Now, this scene takes place when Mark Wahlberg and an amazing character, Todd Parker, played by the incredible Thomas Jane, uh, come up devise with a very, very bad plan of going off and stealing from a drug dealer. Now, right off the bat, you know that these guys are very heavily in deep, and it comes across as an incredible scene where they're just sitting there, where this like young Vietnamese Chinese kid is just like popping off firecrackers, and they're all on edge. And there's this big sketchy black dude in the corner, and this crazy, absolute insane mofo is just going off the rails, and they realize how much trouble they're in. And throughout the scene, he's playing music, and at this one part, they realize that this big black guy is potentially a bodyguard and has packing, and he puts on the song Jessie's Girl. And oh man, that scene takes heights. And what happens is Mark Wahlberg's character Eddie is sitting there, realizing how deep he's in, realizing how much trouble he is, and he's listening to the song and just living the moment, kind of how intense his life has become. And he's kind of like gets a smirk going on his face. It's a very captivating scene. I've watched it so many times. It's an incredible scene. I recommend watching it immediately if you've never seen it. Yeah, it's got some other incredible scenes too, like a reoccurring scene where a guy just kind of walks in on his wife getting railed by another guy, and that is, of course, a side plot. Little Bill and William H. Macy, kind of plays off this guy's wife just getting railed, and he comes in and sees him and then gets mad. It's a very weird side plot, but it is an interesting one indeed. So yeah, like I mentioned, John C. Riley, Reed's Rothschild, is incredible in the movie, and he kind of forms another bromance with Mark Wahlberg. So between the three of them, Burt Reynolds, Mark Wahlberg, and John C. Riley, they all kind of are like bros, so to speak. And I would have to mention Philip Seymour Hoffman in it too, another actor that has sadly passed away since the movie was made. He plays kind of like this weird Scotty guy who's just a filmer, whatever, in this industry. And yeah, rest in peace as well to Philip Seymour Hoffman. A tragic character. Two tragic characters actually are Julianne Moore as Amber and Heather Graham as Roller Girl. They're both kind of looking for something. Julianne Moore obviously looking for a, child or son daughter relationship with Roller Girl and Eddie, whereas Roller Girl seems to just kind of be lost, but at the same time trying to live a happy life, and definitely a very dark scene at the end involving Roller Girl kind of being, taken advantage in the industry, so to speak. So yeah, like I said, it's a movie that perfectly encapsulates how people growing up want everything, and different people want different things when they're young. And in an industry so toxic and uh, disgusting, I would say, as adult entertainment, even back then, it's even worse nowadays. With the movie even touches on the fact that there's like the VHS movie rental business, and today would be like the internet business. So it's even like more exploitative today by miles than it was back then, when people literally just had to, it's unbelievable to think, but people had to literally go to like movie theaters to see pornography. And like, what a thought. I'm sure people still do that nowadays, but yeah, I mean, with the advent of internet, there's a million easier ways to get this entertainment nowadays, and probably a million other ways to exploit people as well. So yeah, like I said, Boogie Nights is an incredible movie, possibly one of the best period piece 70s, 80s, you know, underbelly of adult entertainment type movies there is. There's just something fantastic about it. Mark Wahlberg is lovable as Eddie. It shows off the party scene. It makes you feel like you're in a party when you're watching it. It's very groovy movie. It's Todd Parker is incredible. Thomas Jane. And it just shows the down spiral of substance abuse, and particularly cocaine, as how it starts off like a party and then it divulges into something darker. It really, really, really shows sides of people that is, it feels like a believable tale. It feels like you're watching people playing out these things, and it's potentially one of the greatest Tarantino non-Tarantino movie. Paul Thomas Anderson made something special with Boogie Nights, and it doesn't really need a sequel. Although one could argue you could probably make a great sequel using it, maybe in the early 2000s. 20 years after it came out. Who knows? Mark Wahlberg might be down because you could still continue the character of Eddie. Yeah, it's a great movie, and it is like I said, it's an amazing Tarantino-esque adventure into a time period that is seldom seen in movies nowadays. So rest in peace, Burt Reynolds and Philip Seymour Hoffman. What you created here is truly legendary. It's an amazing, incredible movie, and all the actors that played it, like Thomas Jane, John C. Riley, Mark Wahlberg, they are just on their A game in this movie. It is an intense movie. The Jesse's girl scene is possibly one of the most epic in crime drama movie history, alongside of the some of the scenes in Scarface. It is just a really, really great movie. It's lighthearted at times, but it gets dark too, and it is overall is just an absolutely stunning movie. 9 out of 10 material, incredible. One could even go so far as to say it's 10 out of 10. I mean, it is just a classic. And I can never stop watching it. I'm always just popping it on and like, oh, I remember this. Because it's one of those movies with so much going on that you're always picking up new things. And Boogie Nights is just an incredible movie.